Victoria was, well, dead against it, but Edward VII quite liked the idea. And of course, sadly for him, he was sort of pushed back by courtiers who literally ruled the royal court then. It's funny how times change, isn't it, now, when you think about it. And of course, in the lifetime of our brilliant monarch of 70 years, Queen Elizabeth, well, then she finally did welcome the idea of opening Buckingham Palace. But this was truly only to pay for the renovations of the disastrous fire out at Windsor. She very much felt that a home should be a home no matter what it is, and that clearly, these were homes belonging, not necessarily fully belonging, but to the British royal family. Now, I told you about this last year because I could just foresee this happening. And as you know, at that time, the then Prince of Wales, now His Royal Highness, King Charles III, well, he often had these very lengthy conversations with his mother, the late Queen, about what they should do. But now he's king, things are changing. Let me explain. Morning, good to see you. Thank you so much as ever for your time. Nice to have your company. As I've often said, we all have a look around in the world of history, don't we? And I've been lucky enough, I've got to be honest to say I've looked around most of those royal palaces, including St. James's, Buckingham, Kensington. And of course, you do get a real sense of feeling of history. That's what we like. I think we like to see, well, what's gone on. And as you know, last year, for the very first time, although you couldn't go on the balcony, you got a glimpse of the balcony from the tour. And you weren't allowed to take photos and stuff on your mobile phones and things like that, rightly so. But I do believe in the fullness of time, very soon you will be able to go on the balcony because public demand when they pay your salary effectively, as people believe anyway with the British monarchy, dictates what's going forward. But here's where it gets really interesting, because you see now His Majesty the King, King Charles, has basically said he's opening up even more of Balmoral, the beautiful royal retreat up in the Scottish Highlands. I've said to you before, marvellous place. If you want to go somewhere and forget the world exists, and I don't mean that rudely, Scotland, but when you just totally switch off and you think this is relaxation, that will be the place for you. I can understand why the Queen loved it, It just felt like you'd stepped on another planet. And because you're surrounded by so much beauty and wildlife and able to switch off and think, you can understand why even, of course, Queen Victoria retreated up there for so long after the death of Prince Albert. Now, all thanks to His Majesty the King, from April right through to the end of, I think, July, you'll be able to go and see inside even some of the royal rooms used currently by the British monarchy. Now, as I said at the start of this video, this would be sort of abhorrent really for our late Queen Elizabeth. She just didn't like that. She felt that was an intrusion. And I think more than any place, she felt Balmoral was her home, and you understand that. She saw that as a retreat and that was the deal, So for her to find possibly that His Majesty the King has decided to do this, well, you can understand. They possibly would have not seen eye to eye. The reason being is simply this, is to generate income, to make sure that these places become self-funding so that they're less of a burden on the British taxpayer. You have to applaud that. You can't have one without the other. So while all of these people criticising, of course, the royal family, saying they cost this much, every time they try and do something, they're chastised for that. You can't have it both ways. And yes, there's a lot of income streams from everywhere, but there's also a lot of staff. And as we saw in the coronation, the Platinum Jubilee, when we want to see all of those staff, you understand where your money goes and how we present our wonderful country to the rest of the world. If you want to go and see it, as I say, check out the website. I reckon tickets will go very quickly. But if you're looking for a treat for 2025 and you've got a bit of money spare, let's face it, not many now, but if you do, well, I would recommend this wholeheartedly, to have a smooch round Balmoral. Neil Shaw, Parliament, London.